Absolutely delighted to say that today I'm introducing a TV production that could hold the key to the future of our creative industry and all of us who work in it here in the Northeast. Where can I just say a massive thank you to all the hard-working cast and crew who may be in the audience tonight. And most particularly, can I say thank you to ITV's head honcho, the director of television, Peter Fincham, who in viewing the pilot episode announced, allegedly, this is the new Frost.
Vera first appeared in a book called The Crow Trap, and that was written, I think, in '99, so it was a long time ago.
One of the things that's so important, I think, about Vera is its atmosphere, and each of the directors have managed to kind of capitalise on that. That the pieces feel very cinematic, they feel kind of elevated and very atmospheric as a consequence.
I decided I would write this big standalone novel, and it was about 3 women who lived up in the hills in the Northumberland National Park.
I think it's stunning in the Northeast. Why would you go anywhere else? Really? I mean, it's amazing up here. You've got everything. You've got a city, you've got the sea, you've just got everything.
And it wasn't going to have a cop in it at all. But then about halfway through, there was a church scene, a funeral, and Vera just sort of blew in like a bag lady. And I liked her immediately because she was fat and she had bad skin and doesn't look a bit like Brenda.
Great for me to be playing Vera because she's a different kind of detective. There hasn't been one like her before. In fact, there was a screening earlier and somebody had mentioned, oh, she's like the new Frost. And somebody said, no, she's not like the new Frost because she's completely her own person.
Vera was a detective, but I suppose because I write quite traditional crime novels in the Golden Age tradition, it was very hard for me to write a big novel that didn't have a detective in it. So Vera came along to be the detective, to hold the story together. And then I liked her so much that I wrote 3 more with her in. I suppose even the feminists, when they're writing central characters who are female, decide that they want them to be fit and thin and able to run. That didn't seem fair somehow. You know, it's all right to have Andy DL looking fat and ugly and single, but women weren't supposed to be like that. So I suppose Vera was my equivalent of Reg Hill's Andy DL.
Well, I was particularly looking for a women detective and one that wasn't, as Anne describes, the usual glamorous, gorgeous, whatever, detective. I specifically wanted a middle-aged woman. I felt that there were lots of male actors were allowed to be middle-aged and not beautiful, but there was no such thing as a woman detective like that.
Well, I was originally employed by ITV Studios as their books executive, so I was sourcing books to then develop into television programmes.
I looked and looked, actually. I spent a lot of time looking. I kissed a lot of frogs, and then finally I went into my Crouch End bookshop, and I came across Anne's Crow Trap and went straight to Kate Bartlett and said, I think I've found the detective.
The thing that struck me most was Vera herself. She was just a very different detective from the ones I'd seen in other books or watched on telly.
And Dad always used to set us problems to solve. So the idea of playing somebody who solves crimes and so on was very appealing to me.
Great, talented people who are very eager to work on projects. They're not kind of jaded in the respect that, you know, a lot of people can be who can, you know, who are just kind of, who begin to take it for granted.
The character doesn't come in until halfway through the book, and I was thoroughly enjoying the book until I got to the bit where Vera shows up, and I thought, hang on a minute, do you know, this great fat shambolic. I thought, what have they thought of me? Well, you know, why have I sprung to mind? But I totally fell in love with this woman. And it is, you know, what Elaine says, men are allowed to be like that and just get on with the job of solving the crime. They don't have to have any romantic involvement necessarily. I never find a pressure to be different when I'm playing a part. I feel a duty to make visual what's written, and you know, to make visual the character that Anne has created and that Paul Ruttman, our screenwriter, had brought to the screenplay.
So they're 2 hours long and they're very cinematic in that respect. They're like self-contained films. So you don't have to have necessarily seen the second to understand the third, but there's a real thread that kind of evolves over the course of the series, and so you get to understand more about the subtext and the dynamics between the characters and their kind of their private lives.
I'm very happy with the series, and the thing I'm most proud of is that I think we all had a fantastic time as a team last year, and we all can't wait to get back together. So I think to me, that's the best thing.
We're hoping, fingers crossed, that we'll be back here this year to make another series of Vera. I mean, not only do we think it's a great addition to the slate of detective, people have a thirst for detective series, it seems. It's... I just can't wait to come back and make another one.
ITV are very confident about it in the sense they've already paid for new scripts. We're quite far into development, but the green light won't come until it's been on the telly, so everybody has to watch it.
This is a project that's been supported by Northern Film and Media, which is 10 years old, I think, more or less. And it is a sort of bittersweet irony, is it not, that this help has been extended, and this could be a great thing for the region and the region's film economy and culture, precisely at the time when the government has seen fit to abolish the two bodies that fund Northern Film and Media, the Film Council and One North East. So there must be, on the one hand, a sense of satisfaction that this has happened, and on the other hand, a sense of frustration that in that sense, such opportunities may not be around in the future.
I don't want to bore Andy, but the future of the agency is in jeopardy, but we're ahead of the game in using our funding differently, and I think Vera is an example. What I think is, I am quietly optimistic. If we keep backing winners like Vera, there won't be problems.
I absolutely loved working up here. I mean, it's so beautiful. I mean, it's the best kept secret in town.